So this You Can Win. This is by Shiv Khera, and this has been the book, and this has been my go-to book in my childhood and my growing teenage days, where it has motivated me many times. The thing that has motivated me about this book is the stories that's been discussed in the book. So what I'm going to do is I will just cover the stories instead of what is it written here on the slides. So the first one is the power of positive thinking. So like in positive thinking is like if you believe there is a positivity, the positivity is going to happen. So let's look at a very good example, a baby elephant and a rope. A young elephant is conditioned to believe it can't break free from a rope, grows up with the same limitation, even when it is physically capable. So you have conditioned the elephant to believe that it cannot break the rope when it is small. So when it grows up, it is conditioned to believe that it can't break the rope when it is grown up because there is no past experience of the elephant breaking the rope. So you can see the elephant tied with the rope in many places. The elephant can break it but cannot break it. Okay, I will look in the clear goals. So there was this study where in Harvard where they asked students to set up goals, and some students who did not set up goals. So what happens is that graduates with written goals, who have written the goals on a paper, pen and paper, achieved more success than those who did not write the goals. So write your goals, and that's going to make a huge difference. Another story here is uh, Arjuna's focus. So there is a story in Mahabharata where Arjuna is asked to hit a bird with his bow and arrow. So the guru of Arjuna asked every other student that he had to focus on the bird and asked what the person saw. Every other person saw, I saw a tree, I saw the sky, I saw the land, I saw the wind. So thing is that people were all distracted. But when Arjuna came, and apparently Arjuna is the best archer in Mahabharata. So when he came and he asked to hit the bird, he asked, when his guru asked him, Dronacharya asked him, what do you see? He said, I see only the bird. So this example shows you that the focus and setting clear goals is very important. So let's look at the embracing failures. So that there are few examples that's discussed in the book. So for example, Walt Disney. Walt Disney before he became a billionaire was bankrupt. Not once, twice, he was bankrupt many times before he became a millionaire. So and that and right now he's not a millionaire, he's a billionaire. So that failures shaped Walt Disney and the Walt Disney as an enterprise today, because the failures really shaped Walt Disney. And even Thomas Edison, there are 10,000 failed experiments before inventing the right light bulb. This teaches resilience. Let's look at the importance of persistence. So, you see, right? KFC recipe, Colonel Sanders did the KFC recipe when he was 65 years old. 65 years old. That means his company was a failure even before that. He was rejected 1,009 times before his KFC recipe was accepted. He was persistent. He knew he's going to succeed. He just kept on coming back 1,009 times. Just imagine if he had given up 1,008th time, he would not be having KFC today. Building strong relationship. So, if you look at Mother Teresa, and she built a global movement, her movement is really global, and all through her compassion and her ability to connect with people and to inspire people. Her The only thing she had was she was able to connect with people, and she was able to inspire people, and that created strong relationship, and that created a global movement, and that was created by Mother Teresa. Okay, time management skills. So let's imagine a jar, okay, and let's put rocks there, pebbles there, let's put sand there. Let's look at it this way. If I put the sand first and the pebbles later, or the rock later, so the pebbles uh, will fit in so much. Let's imagine if I put the sand first, I can only put the pebble or the rock later, right? So the jar does not have enough space to have the rocks, pebbles, and the sand at the same time. Let's relook into the same thing. Let's give importance to the things that needs to go first into the jar. The things that needs to go first into the job is the big things. The big things are the rocks. So let's relook into the jar where we are putting the rocks first, and then fill it with pebbles, and then put in the sand. So now what happens? The full jar take can take the rocks, pebbles, and the sand. So this gives you importance to time management and the priority you're going to give to each things. So same applies to Einstein. Einstein had a routine. So he had a disciplined time management system that focused on very high impact work. So the most important work, the urgent and the most important work will come first. So continuous learning. So so if I look at Mahatma Gandhi, he got independence to India, and so throughout the Indian independence movement, he was always acquiring knowledge of people from each part of India. So he was continuously talking to people, he was reading books, he was getting to know people, and that has got independence to India. So because of the continuous knowledge and the continuous learning that Mahatma Gandhi adapted in his life. So, calculated risk. So, imagine you are going to jump off a tall building. So, the thing is that if you're going to jump off a tall building, the chances are you are not going to come out alive. So, let's look into the same thing. You are going to jump off a tall building, but you are wearing a parachute. So I remember this example. This example was told by a businessman. It says that take a risk, but make it calculated. So as long as you're jumping from a tall building with a parachute on, the chances are that if you can't make the jump, the parachute is going to help you to make sure that you are coming down safer. So that is just one example of taking a calculated risk. The same applies to markets or buying stocks or buying futures and options. You can buy a lot of options, but you need to take the ones that you can recover the loss within $100 or $200. So adapting to change. So Let's look at a bamboo tree here. A bamboo tree, if you plant a bamboo tree for 5 years, there will be no growth of bamboo tree. It will just be there. But after 5 years, the growth of bamboo tree is gonna be very fast. Every day there is gonna be a change. For the first 5 years, the bamboo tree was just making its roots stronger so that on the year 5 it can grow really huge, really tall. So this example says adapting to change. Not every plant is the same, not every human is the same, not everything is actually the same. So you need to adapt to the change. Self discipline and focus. So let's look at every athlete that has gone in the Olympics ever. Ever since Olympic has started, ever since any competitive sport has has been there. So every athlete will stick to a disciplined training schedule. They wake up at 4 a.m. and they would go for the practice to 2 hours or 3 hours before they are what they are today. So, as long as they keep on repeating the discipline and focus, they are able to replicate the success just by having the self discipline and focus. Let's look into the role of mentorship. So, there are a lot of stories of mentorship which changed people's lives. If I'm going to look into Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs had a mentor in India who gave him the idea about a lot of things about spirituality, which helped him in his later life. So these mentors really shape up people. So the mentor are important in every career. So if you have a mentor, it's going to help you a lot. Let's look at a growth mindset. A growth mindset, a lot of people talk about growth, but what is a growth mindset? Imagine a ball. So when the ball falls down, it is getting hit. So if you drop a glass, it's gonna break when it hits the ground. But the harder you hit the ball, the higher it's gonna bounce. So be the basketball. The harder you are hit, the higher you're going to bounce. Remember this, the harder you are hit, the higher you will bounce. The harder you are hit, the higher you will bounce. Just keep saying that to yourself. So that is cultivating a growth mindset. So it is transformative power of believing in potential. So let's look into the small wins. So imagine you are an athlete. You are going to the Olympics. So your aim in life is to win a gold medal in the Olympics. But the Olympics only comes once in 4 years. So what is your motivation until the day of the Olympics? Because it's going to be only one day in 4 years. So for that one day, you are training for 4 years. So the only way to keep your motivation alive is to celebrate every small win that is coming your way. So celebrate your small win and make sure that bigger long-term goal is still in your mind so that you can hit it when it is time for you to hit it. So your path to success. So this is the last one. So we have come to the end of the book. So imagine a person building a building, so a mason building a cathedral. So what does the mason think? Is he thinking his job is to laying bricks? So, or is he thinking he's building a magnificent cathedral? So, so be the mason in a cathedral. Look at the big picture. So your bigger story is maybe you're a small mason in a cathedral laying bricks, but it's about you believing that you are building the cathedral and not a person just laying bricks. And thanks, and do subscribe to the channel so you can have more books like this to make your days better.